Hi, I'm Aaron Stash with the Electric Home Show here in Oak Park, Illinois with the Oak Park Climate Action Network. Let's go take a look at what this homeowner has done to electrify their house. I'm Aaron Stash. Welcome to the Electric Home Show. I'm Aaron Stash with the Electric Home Show. I'm here with Matt Nichols from Energy Matters in Oak Park, Illinois, another home tour with the Oak Park Climate Action Network, and we're talking about heat pumps. So Matt, next to us, we've got a ductless unit. We were just in the basement and they have a ducted unit. How do you decide, when homeowners come to you and say, I want a heat pump, what are you guys looking at?
Right. So anytime I walk through a home with a customer, it's trying to match their needs with what the home can actually do and what works well for it. So if you're looking for air conditioning, ductless is a great problem solver, and it can do like half home or like limited areas of the home. If you're trying to go for more of a whole home system, then a ducted solution works well also. Or just matching what you have already. If you've got a furnace and AC, let's not recreate everything. Let's use your ductwork. Let's put it to good use.
And here in Oak Park, we've got a lot of 100-plus-year-old houses, a lot of radiator heating. I think the homeowner here had a boiler. How do you have that conversation with changing out a boiler, deciding if it's ducted or ductless?
If you have a boiler, it's typically something that you've enjoyed having for a long time. People like their radiant heat. So in that situation, it's more common to be adding air conditioning, which we look at doing. I do a lot of ductless on the first floor then, like one in the living room, one in the kitchen. And then on the second floor, doing a ducted solution up there to cover all the bedrooms.
Gotcha.
That gives you nice zoning for your air conditioning. And then it has the great benefit of providing substantial heating throughout the year, balancing your load. And then when it gets deep into the winter, turn on your boiler, enjoy your radiant heat.
And you were talking about the installation of the heat pump downstairs. So it's a ducted system with a resistance band in there. And what is the electrical load? I know we had somebody ask the question of that electrical load for that system.
So downstairs is an all-electric ducted heat pump, and the heat pump itself is around 40 amps, and that's powering the outdoor unit. And then there's an electric resistance element on top, which we put outdoor sensors on it so it doesn't turn on too early. We really don't want to run that too often. But that is another like 30 to 60 amps. So that is a pretty large burden on your panel and your
But we're really only running that when it's -5 degrees Fahrenheit or less.
Exactly. Really trying to limit its use.
Especially in these older houses.
Yes.
Are you also suggesting, or do you guys do anything with insulation or air sealing, or how do you come to a customer with this unit?
And if you insulate your attic, air seal, keep all of that heat you're making, keep it inside the house.
Yeah.
Don't lose it to the outside world. So trying to bring that back down closer to that 40,000 BTUs that the heat pump can provide.
Right.
And then covering that little difference with electric resistance.
Great. And we're here in Oak Park, so tell us a little bit more about Energy Matters and how you guys got into heat pumps. Have you been doing it all the time? Is it something new? Or
So Energy Matters is my brother and I's company. We're OPRF and Purdue grads. So we started off in energy efficiency, kind of cut our teeth there, and then started HVAC. So furnaces, ACs, boilers, and just trying to be good advisors for our clients in their homes. Just knowing what's out there, what's on the horizon, and what really works for homes. Not pushing the boundaries too much, but doing it soundly and getting good results with it.
Great. Have you seen the Jimmy Fallon Boilermaker skit that they've done?
Oh, I have not.
Oh, you got to check it out.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Aaron. Nice.
Home Show. If you're a homeowner interested in a healthy, energy-efficient electric home, reach out to us at electrichomecompany.com to schedule your free virtual coffee today. Hey, it's Aaron Stash back here in Oak Park, Illinois. We're going to check out one more 100-year-old electric home. Let's take a look. Hi, I'm Aaron Stash with the Electric Home Show. I'm here with Aya O'Connor in Oak Park, Illinois. We're on the Oak Park Climate Action Network Electrification Tour. Aya, thanks for opening up your house today. I see behind us you have the Induction cooktop. You want to tell us about this and what kind of brought you guys here?
Absolutely. So our long-term plan, my husband and I, we wanted to electrify our whole house. This is just one of the steps to get there. It's really a wonderful way to cook, even as someone who was loved cooking with gas. I couldn't be happier with this. It's super efficient. This induction stove is also safer than gas in a number of ways. One, it's not emitting toxic fumes like our old gas range did, which is important because we've got young kids and a dog. And then secondly, so when the stove is on, I can actually touch my hand safely to the burner and not get burned, not feel the heat, because the heating element is only heating the bottom of the cookware. So it's super efficient. Things cook fast.
And did you do this all at once? Did you start with induction? Did you start with, I know there's heat pumps going on downstairs.
Yes.
And different things. Like, what was the process that brought you guys to electrification?
So actually one of the first things we did was do a blower door test.
Okay.
So we knew our house was leaky because we could feel it. It's one of those houses, you walk upstairs, it's 20 degrees.
and the blower door test for folks is they put a big giant fan in your front door, right?
Yeah.
And then they kind of turn it on and see where the leaks are, right?
Exactly. They measure how leaky your house is. Our contractor also went through with a infrared camera and told us our specific problem spots where we were losing heat,
right,
or cool air. And so those were, instead of re-insulating the entire house, starting from scratch, we just really focused on the most problematic areas, and it made a huge difference.
Great, great. So like air sealing, did you do a little bit of insulation? Was it all just sealing kind of up the gaps and cracks?
So we did the spray foam insulation. So we had our contractor drill the holes in our walls. It's a little bit messy, but just for a day or two. We also did the air duct sealing, which I learned how leaky air ducts are. So we've got ducts in our house. It was leaking so much air. I can see why you have a bigger system for HVAC than you need, because so much of it gets lost. So we did that. And just by doing those two things, insulating the house where the problem spots were, and then sealing our ducts, we gained so much efficiency, 20%, which means that we needed a smaller system when it was time to upgrade to heat pumps.
Okay. And then when did induction, and was there other, so you got heat pumps downstairs, maybe we'll look at hot water heating. We've seen the induction. What about like clothes drying?
Yeah, so we also upgraded. So we previously had a gas dryer, which we upgraded to, or swapped it out for an electric. So to support that, we upgraded our electric outlets to 220, both to support this stove as well as the dryer downstairs. Fortunately for us, it's literally like right on top of each other. So it was just one conduit supporting both. We also had to expand our electric panel to support the additional energy usage.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for showing us your home. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Hi, I'm Aaron Stash with the Electric Home Show. We're here in Oak Park, Illinois with Derek Eder, who's opened up his home today to talk to us about electrification. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
I first saw you and I was like, you've already done this tour. You've already done a online video of your house.
I have.
So we're going to definitely link to that and show people some more information. But tell us about why you guys did it. Why electrify your house?
Yeah, great question. And it really started off for us as something we wanted to do about climate change. And I had read a book, Electrify, by Saul Griffith, who has an organization called Rewiring America. And he had this very simple idea that if you replace the polluting machines in your homes and electrify your vehicles and all the buildings and all the power plants, that's like a big chunk, over 2/3 of the problem of climate change. But the problem is everybody has to do this for their own home. And I got very convinced by this idea. It seemed like an obvious way to go forward. And I learned that there's other ways, other benefits in terms of costs for utilities and air quality. And so we decided to do it. And then I realized very quickly that there's this sort of ideal way of describing, yeah, just go get heat pumps and go get electric cars and all that stuff. And then there's the actual practical application of doing it, and there was a huge gap there.
And so like, where did you guys start with that?
We started with the solar panels actually, and that was like the easiest thing. I think solar panels have been around for a lot longer. It's very common to do in Illinois. There's actually, if you look around, there's lots of people who have solar panels already in Oak Park. So we started there, and that was relatively straightforward to do. It was when we got into the heat pump side of things that things got really challenging. We couldn't find any contractors that said it would even work here, let alone that they knew how to do it. And so I decided throughout the whole process to document every single step that we took. I've written like a 5-part blog series about not only like why we're doing
Where can we find that? Give us that URL.
Yeah, DerekEder.com is my website, and then there's an Electrification like page right on the homepage.
And I think that's a common challenge folks have had is, hey, I want to do this. I got a lot of information about it, but I called my HVAC person and they're like, you're crazy. This doesn't work here. So like, how long did it take you to find the right contractors?
Yeah, it probably took about 6 months of calling different folks and having people come over, and then just doing the research. And then eventually we actually ended up getting 2 bids to do the heat pumps. But I had to educate myself along the way and learn what it is that was, I had to really do the numbers, run the numbers, figure out, is this possible? Okay, wait, I have to insulate first before this makes sense. What does that look like? Oh, wait, I should do aero sealing for our ducts to close up all the gaps.
So what is that? What is aero sealing?
Right, so essentially any duct system has gaps in it. And whenever air flows through that, if there's a gap, it's gonna go out and just go into your walls and not actually heat or cool your home. And so AeroSeal is a way of, they inject this fog into the system and it finds all the little gaps and it seals them up.
So it's kind of like the Fix-A-Flat for your tire.
Exactly, yeah. It's just like this, it's a very similar concept. And so we ran that process, and our ducts are like, we went from like something like a 90 square centimeter hole to like a 9 or 10 square centimeter hole. So it really reduced the holes and it increased the efficiency of our ducts. So I had to like educate myself on how to do all those things. And then I was there when I finally was talking to the HVAC contractors and said, okay, this is our setup.
Yeah.
I think it'll work. Do you think it'll work? And it did.
And what was the setup before? So you had ductwork already. Did you have a traditional gas furnace?
We did have a traditional gas furnace, and it was about at the end of its life, which is another thing to keep in mind if you're doing this kind of work. If you just installed something a couple years ago, it's pretty wasteful actually to just rip it out and throw it all away. You should be really, really aware of when your equipment is going to, at its end of life. For furnaces, that's like 15 to 20 years for a gas furnace. For a hot water heater, that's maybe like 10 to 15 years. And so we were just kind of fortunate that while I was thinking about this, while I was doing all this research, I was like, hey, my hot water heater was installed in 2007. It's time to replace it, right?
Well, so a really good tip for homeowners then to check out how long your equipment's been around, understand when that end of life is, because you don't want to make an emergency decision.
You don't.
When it dies, that's probably too late to change to a heat pump.
Yeah, you oftentimes don't go into that room at all, or if something is like not working and you don't think about it, right? And that's the thing I think was a big leap for me in terms of figuring out how this new way to sort of tackle climate change. You hear about recycling, you hear about fly less, you hear about eat less meat, and those are still fine things to do. But in terms of impact, it's these decisions that you make every 10 to 20 years that actually has a bigger impact. And you're not thinking about it all the time. And so you have to plan a little bit ahead and do some research. But if you do it, then you're going to have a huge impact on your climate and your own fossil fuel footprint. And it's actually in some ways like life is easier. I don't have to constantly be feeling guilty and thinking about, I shouldn't have done that, or maybe I should have walked, or should have, right?
And these systems aren't a sacrifice, right? So like, tell us about the comfort or health or safety of your house and how that's different maybe now than what it used to be.
Yeah, right after we set up the heat pumps and it was working, we really did notice a comfort change. The home, I mean, it's pretty typical for a lot of houses for there to be even like a 10-degree difference between the top floor and the bottom floor, and that went away. Like our bedrooms are upstairs, so we have a much more comfortable sleeping situation. The air quality was actually a noticeable difference when the new system went in. It's got this super thick filter on it, and so the air, I just felt it was different. It was better. So, and we also were able to install some humidification in the system system as well. So it was a kind of an unexpected bonus for us that all of a sudden this home that's again 100 years plus old, and it's just so much more comfortable than it was before.
So you did the insulation, the aero barrier, you've got the induction cooktop, the electric dryer, the heat pump system, and then you have a heat pump water heater. And I think I saw a RHEEM water heater down there.
That's right.
How has that been performing for you?
It's been great. I mean, it's one of those things that it's like kind of wasn't dramatic. Like, I don't notice a difference. It's just, we have hot water when we need it.
That's the best answer, right? Yeah, it works. Like, what do you want to know?
It's on, and it's fine, and it doesn't make a lot of noise, and it's just like, it's doing its thing.
Yeah.
But our utility bills are way lower, and we're not, piping gas, fumes out into the atmosphere. Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks so much for the tour. Appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks.
All right. Thanks for watching the Electric Home Show. Like and subscribe for more. A special thanks to all the homeowners who've opened up their homes for the Oak Park Climate Action Network. It's really important to see what can be done in home electrification. I'm Aaron Stash. Thanks for watching the Electric Home Show. Like and subscribe for more. If you're an industry professional interested in joining our network, reach out to us at electrichomecompany.com. Thanks for watching.